was like, whoa, those bears, they could swing and miss me by a few inches, and the wind would kill me, And I was like, goodness gracious. So I just hollered out to the bears, I don't know where this came from. It's just some primal thing. And I said, hey, bears, I love you. Jesus loves you. I am not going to exploit you. I promise to not film you or to try to take advantage of you in any way. And in exchange for that, please don't kill me. And then that's how I rolled from then on. I never once tried to take pictures or video of the bears, and I saw them a lot. In fact, every night, I moved to my permanent site on day 5, and that's the main shelter that you see throughout the series. At the very beginning, when I'm laying in my tent, I'm describing how I feel like I'm having a heart attack. That was my temporary shelter before I just picked out my permanent. So in my permanent site, every night at about 9 o'clock, the bears, 6 bears, 4 of them large, 2 of them still large, but not nearly as large. Probably the bigger ones were in the 4, maybe 500-pound range. The smaller ones were probably 350, which in the lower 48, that's still a massive bear.
Yeah.
And they would come by and had no idea. I've never heard bears make this sound before, but just right behind my tarp shelter, about 6 feet away, the bears had created a new path. Because I looked at where the bear trails were, and there was one way over there and one over here, and I thought, okay, I can put my shelter here, and I will not be in any danger of the bears going back and forth on their established trails. Well, they created a whole new one that went behind my shelter only 6 feet away. And so then they would come single file, and they would be making this mewing sound like kittens. They were going, and then they would get right abreast of my shelter, and they would stop, and then they would sniff. And then they would take off. And each one of the bears would come and do that. Mew, 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 stop, sniff, 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 mew, 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 and move on. And every night they did that at 9 o'clock, going down to the beach to forage. And then about 4 o'clock, between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they'd go right back by and do the same thing all over again in reverse. And they did that every night until I left. And at first I was a bit nervous, but then I realized that these bears were cool with me being there, that they weren't afraid of me and felt like they needed to move somewhere else, but they just stayed the whole time. And I think they did that for Nicole as well. I haven't had a chance to ask her about that. I forgot to the other day. And I think her bears stayed, but pretty sure most of the bears left, just did not stay around. And so that kind of made me feel good to think that, these 6 bears accepted me, chose not to beat me up or to threaten me in any way. And I never once felt, I so much wanted to. There was a couple nights there where I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and put the infrared on with the audio. I was going to put the lab mic close to the trail where they would stop and do the mew, mew, sniff, sniff, sniff. I wanted to at least catch the audio if I couldn't get a good video of it. But I remembered, I promised these guys I would not exploit them, so I didn't. And it all appeared to work out well,